Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crypto 101 podcast, where we love talking all things crypto. Now, in today's podcast, we get to dive into one of the leaders of the decentralized exchange place. In fact, a lot of you have probably used this decentralized exchange because it's called PancakeSwap. So if you've ever used this, maybe you've heard about it, maybe you've thought about interacting with it, well, this is going to be the podcast for you. And as a result of this, we've actually brought in the head chef from PancakeSwap. So welcome, Chef Kids.
Hi, Brendan.
Hey there. Well, hey, it's great to have you here. We're excited to have you on and talk all things PancakeSwap related. But I guess before we get into the nitty gritty, before we dive into the weeds and all the intricacies of PancakeSwap, just introduce us to yourself and what got you started off, not only in crypto, but I guess this role specifically.
Yeah, for sure. Firstly, thank you, Brendan, for having me here. It's pleasure to connect with all the members, via your channel. Hi, everyone. This is Chef Keys. I just stepped into the head chef of PancakeSwap. So actually, my journey to this position has been quite adventure. As a long-time advocate for Web3 and DeFi, I have spent several years, actually in the past 6 to 7 years, I spent myself or immerse myself in the crypto or DeFi sectors, particularly focus on the foundation of the trading sectors. I tried different rules. I worked for I have my own protocols. Worked for several protocols. Started my own company and worked for CX and now worked for a DEX. So stepping into the role as the head chef is incredible honor for sure. And moving forward, I for sure, trying to making DeFi more accessible to the mass public, and trying to bridge the gap between the traditional CeFi and DeFi sectors. So that's kind of a brief intro about myself.
No, I think that's perfect. And so, I guess give us more details. What role would you say that the head chef is in charge of? Like, if we had to compare this to maybe a traditional title, like a CEO, COO, CMO, like how would you, I guess, best describe the role of the head chef?
Well, PancakeSwap, is normally we call, the people who contribute in the protocol, we call, we are working in the kitchen, right? We have different chefs. Chefs are working on the community, chefs are working on the marketing, chefs are working on the, tech side and products, etc. The head chefs generally, managing or monitoring or overseeing, the different chefs work, and also try to make sure, the direction or the, efficiency of the whole kitchen is on the right track, and also kind of a front face to communicate with the community members to make sure the direction of the PancakeSwap is fully aligned with the community members, and also we're can try to fully utilize and leveraging all chefs in the kitchen to contribute back to the protocols. That's kind of the rule.
No, that makes sense. And for listeners that are hearing this going, what are they talking about with food and chefs and kitchens? Well, there's a theme here. The project is called Pancake Swap. And so there's a food theme, and obviously with that, a chef theme in a lot of these roles and features, as you'll hear us probably continue to talk about in this episode here today. And I guess with that, let's go ahead and just walk through like the high level overview of what PancakeSwap is and its role in DeFi.
Yeah, for sure. PancakeSwap, we launched back in 2020, and we actually has quickly become one of the leading decentralized exchange in the DeFi space. We are well recognized for our low transaction fee, high speed trading, and user friendly platform. And our platform is operating on an automated market maker model, which play a very important role in our ecosystem. This AMM model enables the liquidity provider to contribute assets to various liquidity pools. These contributions are essentially for facilitating smooth and efficient trading for users. So by leveraging community support through liquidity provision, we enhance the overall trading experiences and ensure that transactions are, can be executed quickly and cost effectively. And also at PancakeSwap, our mission, we always say we're trying to offer, we're offering, a seamless and accessible DeFi experiences. That's basically, how PancakeSwap works.
Got it. And so PancakeSwap started out as servicing primarily the Binance Smart Chain. Is that right?
Yeah. We're initially launched on BNB chain and quickly established us as the number one DEX on the chain.
Got it. And in recent months here, I've seen you all expanding to the ETH mainnet and Polygon, Arbitrum Base, a handful of others as well. Is that right?
Yeah. That's correct because since those early days, especially in the past 2 years, we have expanded our presence significantly, and now we in our platform we are supporting a total of 9 different chains, including Ethereum, Aptos, Polygon, ZK EVM, ZK Sync, Arbitrum, Lena, Base, and OpenBNB. So the decision to broaden our reach and support this additional network actually very aligned with our vision of providing a seamless and accessible DeFi experiences. Because as the blockchain landscape has evolved over the past several years, we have seen a growing numbers of users and also DEXs emerging on various chains. And this expansion has created opportunities for us to enhance our product offerings and user experiences across different diversify our diversity ecosystems.
No, I think that's really cool because we've seen this big push to kind of interconnect different forms of blockchain tech. And I really like the addition of some of these L2s here because I was looking at a metric this morning at the time of recording this. And I saw that Base actually had more traders on it than all of every other Ethereum layer 2 combined. And Base is one of the ecosystem and it's one of the layer 2s that you all support over here. So what it really does is it expands the ecosystem and the sphere of influence that the users on your platform can interact with. I think it's a win-win where everything becomes a little bit more interconnected, it becomes a little bit easier to use, and it becomes less segmented in the sense that people don't have to go to a different place. They don't have to have, number one, a different wallet to interact with every one of these L2s or different chains. And then number two, they don't have to go to a different place to interact with everything. I mean, in the past, we almost had to do that. It was a bit of a hassle. It was like, oh, if I wanted to go make this transaction, I'd have to go over here to that DEX. If I wanted to make this transaction on that layer 2, I'd have to go over there. And I think one of the big cool pushes that we've seen in PancakeSwap here recently is that whether it's the Binance Smart Chain, the Ethereum mainnet, a plethora of the mainstream L2s, we can do a lot of those practices, whether it's swapping, whether it's, I believe, staking, liquidity provision, whatever it may be, we can do a lot of those from a single decentralized exchange, which is big. It really is because it allows users to have so much more freedom and also makes the entire onboarding process a lot less complicated.
Bingo, that's perfect. Adding supporting for these layer 2 solutions and other networks, was driven by our objective to address the existing gaps and capitalize the opportunity within the DeFi space. As you mentioned, by focus on the product protocols or the product pipelines, we realized many DEX were falling short in functionality and user experiences. So that's exactly the reason why in the past 2 years we expand to several different chains, because we saw that by improving the accessibility and the trading efficiency on these emerging networks, PancakeSwap can fill a crucial market gap. So that's the strategical expansion enable us to provide more seamless and efficient trading experiences, helping users to navigate the evolving DeFi landscape with a greater ease, and users can be more easily to jump on different chains, and they can only operate everything on PancakeSwap.
Got it. So, I mean, let's talk about some of these different features that users can expect if they go to PancakeSwap, right? Because right off the face, people are looking at this as a decentralized exchange, and they're going to go, okay, well, I can make swaps here. Now, I'm actually a user of PancakeSwap. I've been using all of you for years now, but there's more than just swapping when it comes to a DEX, especially a DEX like PancakeSwap, because you can not only do the swaps again on all those different chains, but you can also do things like farming and liquidity pool provision, and then you can also stake as well. Would you say that those are like the three primary functions of Uniswap, or is maybe there a fourth or a fifth that I missed?
Yeah, I should say you are correct. These are the core, the three or the top three, core product for us. So as we discussed earlier, PancakeSwap operate on AMM model, right? So which allow the liquidity providers to contribute assets to our liquidity pools. So when users, or LP add their tokens to these pools, they facilitate the trade that occur on our platforms. So in return, they earn a portion of the transaction fee generated from this trading. So this means that by providing liquidity, users are not just passively holding tokens, but actively earn trading fees. So that's exactly farming, right? On swap is quite, straightforward. You just, swap, token A to token B, and, you can do whatever kind of, swap on PancakeSwap. And also comparing with the other DEX, PancakeSwap offers several distinct advantages. Our platform is deployed on 9 chains, and the broad network support means users have more options for providing liquidity and farming cake reward. For VE cake, it's kind of incentive, or it's kind of program to give back our cake community members. The people, if you want to stake the cake on our platforms, if you want stake cake, you will get a V cake, and this V cake will enable you the voting power every 2 weeks on our gauges voting. So this kind of the top three product we have right now. But definitely comparing with, and also PancakeSwap is very well known for our comprehensive product type. So apart from this top three product, we definitely have a lot of other product. If you go to our website, we have the predictions, the lotteries, the NFT plays, and the games, etc. Previously we always say PancakeSwap is the one-stop shop for DeFi players. So you can do everything or try every new product on our platforms. But top three is exactly the same, the three product you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, let's continue to dive into DeFi, because one of my favorite features of PancakeSwap is the farming mechanism, or as people also like to call it, liquidity provision, where people can go in with collateral, typically in two different assets. Let's just say it's BNB and Tether. And then they can provide liquidity and earn a yield. And that yield is variable, but what they're essentially doing is enabling users to make swaps in a seamless manner without slippage. And because you're helping the DEX operate smoothly, you're earning a percentage of those transaction fees. Is that correct? And that's how people are able to earn a yield from farming, essentially?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's really cool, because people look at the crypto space and they go, well, what are these different ways that I can earn additional income? And then the obvious one is you can trade. The other obvious one is that you can stake. And then the third one that I think less people know about is this idea of farming or liquidity providing. And it's really cool because every single different pairing is going to have its own unique uh essentially yield, and that yield is going to be getting paid out on a pretty consistent basis. And I'm not sure what the payout is on PancakeSwap, but usually it's like every day, or sometimes it's even faster than that. But you get paid out for providing liquidity, and those funds are getting used, and you're helping transactions flow smoothly. And every time you do that, you're generating more fees. And so for some of these pairings, you might be getting 20% APY. For others, you might be getting 50% APY. For other pairings, you can get even more than that, and you can go higher. And a lot of this flows off of supply and demand. And again, these are varying yields, but I think it's something that the average listener has probably heard the least about in all of these features, which is a cool one. And again, it's something that I have done through PancakeSwap before. And yeah, I would say it's probably, would you agree with me in the sense that it's probably one of the lesser known, I guess, like use cases of just in general of DeFi?
Yes, kind of, because normally when people actually it's not for PancakeSwap, right? Normally when people think about DAX, they always say swap is the core function. But as you mentioned, apart from the swap, the farming or liquidity, provider can get extra yield. That's much more important. It's a way for us to return back to our community members. That's exactly the foundation of how AMM DAX works.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is that you can do this when the market's going any direction. It's not something where you can just capitalize on this when the market's going up. And that's usually the way that people think about capitalizing on the crypto market is when it goes up. But this is something where, if you are farming and providing liquidity, it doesn't matter if the market's going up or sideways or down. It's something that you can be doing at all points of the market, and the yield is still going to be there. Again, it's going to vary, but it's going to be something that is around regardless, which I think is quite an enticing thing. It's not nearly as stressful. I think it's definitely a lot lower on the stress spectrum as someone who likes to do both trading, high frequency trading and liquidity pools. But I find that a little bit reassuring. It's just kind of the more easy, calming nature of it once you understand it.
Yeah. As long as you hold any tokens, you can put your tokens to any pools that are related, or you can also create pools by yourself, right? And that's as I mentioned, it's no matter it's bear market or bull market, you can always utilize the token in your hand to generate more revenue or profit for you.
Yeah. Well, let's look at like a PancakeSwap against, maybe some of the other main decentralized exchanges, especially ones that interact with Ethereum. The two that come to my mind is you have Uniswap, you have SushiSwap, and there's obviously a lot of other players out there as well. I guess what are some of the things that makes PancakeSwap stand out in the DEX space?
Well, yeah, not only the several names you mentioned, they are more chains are coming out, merging more chains, and almost every chains have their native DEX, and so it means more DEX are coming out as well, right? So we have, but actually, from the industry wise, it's a good thing. It means the whole industry is growing. Have more joiners or players, and it's a good thing for the whole industry. And as in the DEX sector, PancakeSwap, firstly, I guess, the very important thing to flag is we have been in the sector for in the past 4 years, and we are always building in the sector. And it's, we are relatively in the crypto or DeFi sectors. We are not a new protocol. So normally we're not, on the trending things. We're not, within or on the most, popular or hot narratives. But we're, we're incorporated 4 years ago, and we have been building the features in the past 4 years. That's a very important thing to remember. Secondly, comparing with all the DEX currently in the market right now, a very important difference is, as I mentioned, PancakeSwap PancakeSwap is the DEX that provide the most comprehensive product, because normally, or basically, all the decks only have swap, or perps or farmings. But for us, if you go to our website, we have more than 9 or 10, products, including, as I mentioned, prediction lottery, NFT games. We are trying to creating a marketplace for all the players, not only for users but also for the protocols for the project that they can come to PancakeSwap to do certain collaborations and fully leveraging our platform to reach out to the real users. So that's a very important, distinct advantage we have.
Yeah, and one of the things that you mentioned inside there was the 4-year anniversary of PancakeSwap. So first of all, congratulations! It's a huge milestone, and it's been cool to see the platform really grow into what it is and as expansive as it's become. But I guess with that 4-year anniversary that's coming up here, what can users expect for, or rather from, this new version? And I guess also, how do you think it's going to be able to enhance the experience compared to maybe previous iterations?
Yeah, it's an honor for me to celebrate the 4th anniversary together with all the chefs in the kitchen and also the community members. So in the first, before we step into the future, or looking forward in the futures, I would like to give a little bit highlight about what we did or what we accomplished in the past 4 years. So we have reached a cumulative trading volume at 828 billings, which is 37% year-on-year growth, and the total value locked on our platform has reached to 1.58 billion US dollars as well. And also the users we have, we have expanded to 41.7 million across 9 different chains. All these figures actually is an important driving force for us, for all the chefs in the kitchen to carry on, this prosperity. So 4 year is, as I mentioned, is a very, it's an important or big, milestone for us. So going forward, how we can carry on this prosperity, this success, and how we can moving, PancakeSwap to the next step. So it means, for us, we have, currently we are focused on several things. Because, for me, we have, in the past 6 to 7 years, I always believe no matter what protocols, either you are a DEX, a CEX, chain, or protocols, or, staking or farming, whatever, sectors or product you are focused on, the product is always the key
Mm.
to is to attract users, and it's always the key to last, right? So firstly, we really highly focus on our product, and recently we have launched a redesigned version of our farm page. This is actually a first step for us to revisit or to kind of have a comprehensive revamp our swap page and also the whole website, because we have a big advantage. We have a lot of product, but the problem coming along with, since we have a lot of product, it's kind of sometimes it'll be a little bit confusing for our users to find the right product or to find the right place. So that's the kind of reason why we're doing the comprehensive revamp for the whole website right now. And the second thing is we are committed to enhancing community engagement. I think for every project in the crypto sector, so everybody is aware that a community is kind of the base, is the foundation. It's the same thing for PancakeSwap as well, right? So for this year, and also going forward, we have different systems, including the Gauges votings, the VKIC systems, and also the meetups, the physical meetups or workshops, the feedback sessions. We need to have more direct interaction or communication with our community members. And thirdly is how we can have a better or more ecosystem to commit to serve our users in the future. So that's the things we have recently announced the V4 white paper. It's a key part of this effort, and it outlines our plans to enable the developers to build on our platforms and introduce new features.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like there's a big focus on making this as accessible as possible because, at least in my experience, as someone who's been around in the space for a while, DEXs didn't used to be an easy thing to use. And even people who regularly used crypto sometimes were like, I don't know if I want to go to a DEX. But nowadays, we've seen a big shift. And I think that's one of the things that you're referring to here is that we've seen a big shift in making DEXs, all futures of them, whether it's swapping, staking, liquidity pools, farming, whatever it may be. The big emphasis seems to be on making the barrier to accessibility or the ease of access and lowering that so that anyone can come onto this thing for the first time. Say that they have a little bit of Ethereum in a wallet, they can come on here and get an understanding of what to do, where to go, what to click on, and it doesn't have to be rocket science. And I would say that that's one of the biggest things for crypto moving forward because, coming out of that previous market cycle where there were some unfortunate collapses with DeFi, I think people got scared and they got a little bit nervous. But one of the things that remained solid was the true decentralized part of DeFi. All the DEXs were pretty much the ones that came out unscathed. And it was a lot of the players that were trying to make DeFi centralized. A lot of those centralized players that had single points of failure, those were the ones who unfortunately fell through. And it wasn't the DEXs for the most part. And I think for me, I find reassurance in that. So maybe to our listeners, if you're listening in and you're tired of getting caught up, maybe you got chopped up in the previous market from some of those centralized collapses. Well, maybe this is your wake up call to get a wallet and look into some of these dexes like PancakeSwap, because there you can do transactions. You don't have to worry about leaving funds on an exchange. You don't have to worry about trusting this custodian with your money and pray that they don't collapse like FTX. And a lot of aspects of crypto can be done yourself these days. So Yeah, I just think PancakeSwap is another way to do that. So, if you are someone that's interested in looking into that, definitely check PancakeSwap out, because they are potentially a way for you to avoid those centralized exchanges. And if you had something bad happen to you and you're afraid to get back into crypto because you don't want that same kind of risk again, this is another alternative where you don't have to worry about the same stuff. But another question that I had for you here is I just want to talk about like DeFi as an industry, like the high level DeFi, because this has been something that you have been plugged into for a while now. And you've also seen it change quite a bit. I guess, like, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen happen to DeFi that you have been excited about?
Yeah, the DeFi industry has changed a lot, I should say. Because when the DeFi first started, it was a new and complex idea as it's kind of rocket science, right? Which made it challenging for many users who are more comfortable with traditional finance platform. But now things has really taken off. Today, more and more people are getting involved in the DeFi, and we have seen a lot of new decentralized exchange and chain, popping up, which shows that the industry is growing quickly. There's a lot of new talent joining the space, which highlight the exciting potential of DeFi. So with so many chains and networks in the space right now, this raises a key question. I guess Brandon, you already mentioned, where users truly become, chain agnostic or stick with platform that best meet their needs or requirement, even if that means staying with a specific blockchain. So the future of the DeFi will likely involve more integration and a solution focused on users' requirement or needs. The challenge for DEX and the other DeFi platform will be to keep improving and offering great values, helping users navigating within the space. For how we can make the DeFi sector, or how we can make the DeFi or the D app is usable or operational or functional to my dad, to my grandma, who are 60 or 70 years old, and that's a quite important question.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
understand, more and more people, even my grandma or my parents, their ages, they're interested, but they will be very concerned about how they can get onboarded. If we can say, in the future, in the next several years, if we have more than 100 chains and then 100 DEX and then more than 1,000 wallets, and what's the best one to use for these people, especially for newbies? That's kind of, the challenge right now. And do think, we are moving a little bit, but, in the next 4 years, we do see more and more innovation technologies or, protocols can solve the problems.
So you think the next era of DeFi is going to be something that's not only more accessible, but probably something that's maybe like a little bit more intercorrelated or interconnected? Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So for the next era of DeFi, we're already seeing some of the changes that might shape the next era of DeFi. There are more chains, more DEX than ever before. Many users have many more choices, but with these choices coming new challenges, like managing multiple platforms, understanding how they work together. So in the future, a big focus will be on making it easier for users to moving assets across the different chains, as you mentioned, the internal system. So right now, we have several bridge product already, but right now users often need to handle multiple gas tokens for different networks, which is very confusing. Solutions like account abstraction could simplify the whole process by making transaction across the different chains more straightforward.
Got it. Well, hey, we really appreciate you coming on here. Before we let you go, I got one more question for you. And I just want to know if you can share any kind of plans or maybe future endeavors that you have in store for over here. If there's anything big that's coming a Pancake Swap that you want to let the masses know about.
For sure is V4. The V4, we announced the white paper already, and we have a plan to launch it in the Q4 or in the late Q3 or Q4. It's kind of an upgrade, of our core business, which is swap business, and hopefully, this new upgrade will get more developers, building on PancakeSwap, all these hooks built by the developers can the end goal is to ease the users experiences, can give users more seamless experiences and have more easier onboarding process for them.
That makes sense. So we're going to see improvements to all aspects of PancakeSwap moving forward with this V4. It sounds exciting. Again, as a user myself, I think that this is going to be something that I'm looking forward to. And I hope all the listeners are paying attention to this as well as the DeFi space continues to improve. And I think that's one of the big takeaways from this is that we are seeing DeFi not only recover, but move forward to a bigger, better version, especially in comparison to anything that we have ever seen in the past. So, Chef, we appreciate you coming on here. Where can people follow you and all of your socials if they want to follow what PancakeSwap is doing?
Yeah, they can follow PancakeSwap for sure.
Perfect. And is it just the name PancakeSwap on like Twitter? Is there a Discord or anywhere else that they can go to?
They can go to Twitter to follow up the PancakeSwap. Yeah, PancakeSwap exactly.
Perfect. Well, Chef, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you sharing all your insights on the world of DeFi. And once again, thank you for joining.
Thank you, brother, having me. Thank you.